Welcome to the Theater Podcast, intimate personal conversations with theater's biggest names. I am Alan Seals.
I am Jillian Hockman.
And this episode is with Alison Burns and Lulu Picart, who are actors, singers, teachers, what else? Composers, dancers, and most recently added to their resume, podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their own podcast. They're still acting, still performing, but they have their own podcast called 10KDollarDay, which they had me on back October. I think it was October 17th, I think, was when episode 43 is.
October 2018.
Yes, October 2018. We actually will put out the episode that I was on their podcast on this feed as a bonus episode. So just subscribe here to the Theater Podcast, and in a couple days from when this episode drops, you'll have that episode closely behind it. Jillian, what did you think about that episode?
Well, that happened, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, they are as much comedians as they are pretty much anything else.
Yeah.
And it's quite a bit different from the standard guests that we've had on this podcast, but
you just have to listen to it.
You just have to listen to it.
It's great.
It is.
There was some wine.
There was a little bit of wine. That seems to be their thing. I don't think Alison can record at all without having some sort of wine in her hand. And Lulu is pretty good at the mixed drinks from what I hear as well. But anyway, enjoy this episode with Alison Burns and Lulu Picart of 10KDollarDay podcast. And please always follow us, theater_podcast on Instagram and Twitter, facebook.com/official theater podcast. And as always, you can email us feedback at thetheaterpodcast.com. We've been receiving some very good feedback lately, so keep it coming.
We love hearing from you. So keep going. We want to hear it.
Yes.
Be sure to rate and review too. Those count, those help. So we look at them and we really appreciate it.
Sweet. Enjoy the episode.
Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Theater Podcast, intimate personal conversations with theater's biggest talents. I'm your host, Alan Seals. You guys are laughing at me already.
No, because there was no prep. I said, will you tell us when you start? And you said, yes, I have an intro. And then in the middle of that conversation, you said, welcome to the Theater Podcast.
We were just caught off guard.
I paused for editing.
Oh, well, cool. Could you have paused for like friendship maybe at some point?
Like giving us like a head nod or like a thumbs up. You know, it's cool. It's cool. Now we're in.
So both of you, actresses, singers, teachers, writers.
Oh, gosh.
Alison Burns, you are also a choreographer. Lulu Picart, you are a composer. Both of you rounded out as podcast hosts.
Yes.
Which now, most recently, you've started your 10KDollarDay podcast, which we will get into. But I know you through your New York theater background, your New York theater days. This is the first time I've interviewed two people, and I'm not sure who to look at.
Oh, I'll take your right eye.
Oh, I wish you guys could see what's happening right now.
Oh, you can move your eyes independently of each other.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, don't do that again.
And my
Is that on your special skills?
Next to fire eating, which is on my resume.
Oh, okay.
Yes. My 4-year-old can cross his eyes, and it freaks my wife out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Do you tell them they're going to get stuck like that?
No, because I encourage it. I actually think it's funny.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about stuff.
Okay.
Sure.
Which one of you wants to start first?
Lulu.
Okay.
Lulu. It was much harder actually finding your backstory online.
Oh, really?
I have a little bit more of Alison's.
I was born to royalty in the kingdom of Tonga.
where you invented whales to swim with them.
I did. I said I want beluga whales. I want the great white whales. I've run out of whales. Killer whales.
I think
that's all we know.
That's enough whales. What kind of kid were you?
That's a really great question. I was a kid who played piano a lot. because my dad was in the Air Force. So we moved tons and tons. And the first thing that they would do every time we moved to a new place was find a piano teacher. So I think that was their touchstone of normalcy for us. So I was a kid who did that a lot, and I read a lot, and my family was very close. So we were as all-American as you can be. Road trips every summer, road trips to see all the relatives, and everybody in my family plays a musical instrument. So that's the type of kid I was.
And then what led to the Broadway side of things, the theater side?
Well, that was a long, circuitous journey. This is like a 5-hour podcast, right? Like, we're good. Yeah. This is a mini series. This is like Serial. Right?
I got 13 hours left on this tape.
Oh, good.
Great.
On this SD card.
You okay there?
Yeah. Funny bone?
Hurt my elbow.
Oh.
All right. So I was in choir and band, of course, when I was in high school. P.S. It was super cool, so everyone just calm down. And then I went to college, and I was a political science major, but I was a music scholarship student. So I had to perform in the musical ensembles, but I didn't have to be a major. So I did my political science major. Great. And then I got this job in the Foreign Service, and then I quit that, and then I went to grad school for business.
Wait. Job in the what?
The Foreign Service.
What is that? Tell me about this.
Okay, well, so there's this exam. So here's a lot about my personality. I was at school in political science, and they said there's this exam, the Foreign Service exam, and you guys should take it as practice for when you try to pass it later in your life.
How old were you when you took it?
I was 20. I was a senior in high school, so 21, 22.
Okay. Wait, a senior in high school?
Or college.
22-year-old senior.
She failed.
Yeah, I failed
times.
and then passed the Foreign Service exam. It was really weird. And so it kind of sounded like a challenge, I think on purpose. So I took the exam, which is basically a bunch of political science essay questions and multiple choice questions. And if you pass the multiple choice question, they grade the essay. If you pass the essay, you go to DC to do an 8-hour oral exam.
Okay.
Where they give you a fake dossier of a country and a problem to solve, and you get in a group of 4 and you make a plan, a prescription for that problem. And there are moderators in the corners of the room that watch you problem solve and grade you on your problem solving. They say who's taking the lead, who's not taking the lead, who is confrontational, who's not, all that kind of stuff. And then there's some other little tests, but it's an 8-hour test. So I passed that. And then I realized that I kind of had to keep going because everybody was really excited at school that I had passed this. Like they put on the website, which was a big deal because back then websites were very difficult to update. And so it was a big deal. And I had to move to DC and go start all the paperwork and the training, get the security clearance. And then what had happened is 9/11 had just happened.
Ooh.
So DC was different than it was when I took the test. Does that make sense? And I moved to DC, and it was very different in DC. There was a strange mood in the air, and it was uncomfortable. And most of the people that I was with or who were about to enter the program with me were very, they had a mission. They had a mission, and they had a calling, and they had a purpose. And I was like, I think it's dangerous. So I realized that it probably wasn't the right job for me, because I think if you're going to go into a dangerous situation, you should feel called to go into that dangerous situation. And at that point, I went to grad school instead. Got my MBA in leadership studies, which actually helps me a lot. That's a good skill set to have, I think. And then while I was waiting to get a real job, my parents had moved to Orlando. So I kind of went home to them while I was applying for real jobs. And for some extra money, auditioned at Walt Disney World because all of my extra jobs had been performing and retail, but mostly performing. So I was like, oh, I need some extra job. I guess I'll go see if I can sing at Disney World. And they took me in. Disney World did. And I was there for 10 years. I did so many different shows there. I mean, so many different skill sets while I was at Disney World. It was like grad school.
Well, what did you get? Were you a face character?
No, I first learned the luau as a host. Then I learned Comedy Warehouse, which was at Pleasure Island. It was a 7-day improvisational comedy troupe. I sang with the Voices of Liberty, which is an 8-part a cappella group, I think. I hosted things. I did street comedy. I did trunk comedy. I opened Finding Nemo the Musical. I judged American Idol The Experience. I was a storyteller. I sang with the orchestra. So I did a lot of stuff, a lot of varied stuff. Mm-hmm. That's why, to me, that was my grad school. And that's where I got my equity card.
Nice. Oh, yeah, because Finding Nemo was an equity show, right? Or still is.
All the actors and singers at Walt Disney World are equity.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
And then you met Alison, who also had a beginning.
Yeah.
She did have a beginning.
What's funny is that our beginnings are, well, the very beginnings are similar, and then it really deviates from there. But I, too, was a military brat. My dad was in the Air Force. So are we moving on to me? I just kind of jumped.
Do I need to
felt
nod?
like there was
Do
a
I need to
segue. We were like a segueing. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Okay,
I was
Thank
giving
you.
you
I needed
go on
permission. Okay.
ice. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, military brat. And my parents were performers as well. They met in a band. My mom played piano. My dad played guitar and played the trumpet. And I have been singing since I could remember. We have like cassette tapes of me like harmonizing to my dad at the age of like 4. So I've just been always musical, and it was mostly in church. I was the church singer. We moved every few years. So that was my was like the choir. I would join the choir and I would audition for the solo and I would get it. And then I'd make friends because people were like, oh my gosh, you're so good. And I was like, thank you. So like that was like my way in. I mean, it just was. But I did not do anything remotely political or MBA-ish. At 17, I lived in Arkansas, graduated high school from Shorewood, Arkansas, very little school. And I auditioned for AMDA in New York and made it. And I moved here in 2000 and I went to school and loved it, loved New York City, got into it, started auditioning. And then I graduated in 2001 and then in October. And by December, I had booked the national tour of Rent, the first non-ec national tour.
I think I saw that in Raleigh.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. This was like 2001 to 2003.
Was Constantine in that
No,
one?
he was the last. Oh, maybe he was after us.
That was the one I saw.
Okay, no, he wasn't. We had like Kevin Spencer and Crystal Washington.
Yeah.
Bridget Caddy. It was fun. I was 19 when I started that tour, which is insane. I mean, we went to Vegas, you guys, and I couldn't gamble. My friend was like, don't even press the buttons because if you win, it's null and void. Like, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So it was great. And it was also crazy. Like, I had a fake ID. Ugh. I don't encourage that. I don't encourage it.
Don't tell people that.
Well, it's done now. I'm like so much older, but
your daughter will listen to this podcast.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
She knows. They don't even do that anymore, do they?
You need to know that in the course of this friendship, I am 100% more concerned about being a good role model for her kids.
I'm just real with them. Like she knows, you know. Anyway, so I did the tour and
oh well.
I had this thought process at 1920 that like, oh, I just did a tour of Rent. When I get back to New York, it's going to be smooth sailing. Like I'm going to walk into the rooms and be like, oh, my first gig I booked. So here we go. What's next, Broadway, right? And I didn't book anything for a year. So I worked at Victoria's Secret. I worked at a tanning salon. You name it. It was crazy. I couldn't book anything. And then I ended up auditioning for Busch Gardens.
Tampa.
in Williamsburg.
I worked there.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Secrets of Castle O'Sullivan.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did it. I moved to Williamsburg.
Yeah.
I did, I don't know, some jukebox show. We sang like Beyonce and like all these different things. I did that. And while I was there, I got super sick, like crazy allergies, crazy sick. I ended up getting nodes, you guys, on my cords.
Where else would you get them?
It's just for the people out there. Maybe this is your first time listening to the theater podcast. You hear the word nodes. You don't know what that is. So I'm letting you know that it's nodes. So I ended up, at the time I was dating this guy who lived in New York, who was from Tampa.
Just American Jukebox. Wasn't that the name?
It was American Jukebox. Yeah. We had like rip away costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're black or white. And then you rip it off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I got nodes. They were like, oh, you have to go in vocal rest for like a month.
Can we pause?
Yeah.
Was this a black costume that you ripped off to become a white costume?
No, it was black and white. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. It was both black and white. Then you ripped it off and we became, crazy in love. Got me looking so crazy right now. Beyonce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it became that.
It's a jukebox.
It was like through the years.
It's like
Okay.
It's an American jukebox.
Yeah, American jukebox.
It's clearly an American jukebox.
Yeah, with Beyonce.
That's how it ended. That was the big showstopper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, where was I?
You moving to Tampa.
Tampa dated a guy.
Yeah, he worked here. He like managed restaurants.
Here in New York?
Yeah. And then he was from Tampa. I went back to Tampa during that month to like take a vocal break. And I got pregnant. So stayed there. And he proposed when I was like 9 months pregnant. He used a fry box from Burger King.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Super romantic.
You never told me that.
Really?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd use an onion ring box.
See, I know. I was literally, I was sitting on the couch like 9 months pregnant. He brought Burger King. He had like the TV tray and I literally was eating all the fries and he had, I guess, taken them out and put in the ring box in the back. So I go to grab, some of the last fries and my hand hit something. And I was like, what's this? And I pull it out and I see the box. And again, I look at him and go, what's this? And he got down on a knee and he was like, so I feel like we should get married. And I was like, all right, cool.
No.
That lasted.
Wait.
Well, there's it was a moment. And a year later, it was not a moment anymore. It was done. But I had a very beautiful child who is now almost 14.
Yeah, I love her.
And she's awesome.
I've never met her, but she looks amazing from the stories and the pictures.
She's great. She's
awesome.
Super great kid.
Yeah, she's like the best kid. Like, I'm waiting. You know that moment where you're like, this kid has never caused me problems, ever. Like, there's got to be something's about to happen. Like, she's about to go into high school. I'm like, what? What is it? Because she's so good. It's weird. Yeah.
I worry about my kids that way too.
Yeah?
I mean, I'm riding the Q train home from the Trolls experience this afternoon, and like my 2.5-year-old is sitting on my lap making squishy faces because it's the funniest thing ever for me. And I'm literally in the middle of this moment, and this is not good because I need to be more present. But I'm in the moment thinking, like, at what point are you going to not want to sleep with me in my armpit? He wants to sleep in my armpit every night.
Great.
I'm like, when's that going to go away? And at what point, like, when's the first I hate you going to come? And like, what are you going to be? I'm like thinking all these little thoughts in the back of my mind while I'm just sitting here, like counting to 5 and grabbing his face with the claw I make with the 5, right? So anyway.
No, it's so good that you can grasp onto those moments though, because that will make you not be like, oh God, I'm so cramped because you're in my bed. Like, no, that's gonna go away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, that's how I am because I have a 4-year-old now too. So like when she wants to sleep with me, I'm like, yes, anytime. Because I know the almost 14-year-old, like she grabs her phone, she goes in her room, she puts herself to sleep. Like there's, you know what I mean? She's amazing, but there's very little lovey, touchy, like there's a hug and a kiss every now and then, but it's just different. So yeah.
Anyway.
So theater.
Disenchanted.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
So is that Disenchanted is off-Broadway show that opened 2012, right?
No.
It
I
was
think like
later
15.
than that.
Was it?
I think like 2015 maybe.
2014. I think it was November of 2014.
I have
into
2012 in my
15.
notes.
Well,
Was that when it
that may
started?
be possible. So the difference of our experiences in Disenchanted is that I was in it from the beginning at the Orlando Fringe Festival. And then we did 3 or 4 out of towns before we brought it to New York. But I think New York was 2015.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It was because Hannah was born in 2014.
Oh, so then it was fall of 2014
fall
into
of
spring of
2014.
2015.
So what is Disenchanted? For those who don't know.
Oh, yes.
Well,
Please.
I mean, you started with them.
Okay, here we go.
can do it.
Disenchanted is an all-female show that takes the classic princess stereotypes that you would see and challenges them. And they use the Disney princesses as kind of the touchstone for that because it's a very recognizable icon. Everyone knows the story. Everyone knows,
Mhm.
all of the tropes that happen with each princess is just super recognizable. So it takes those princesses and uses them to kind of challenge the way that they're presented in the movies and give them perhaps a more historical backstory for the princesses that actually lived in real life,
Mhm.
like Pocahontas and Mulan and
Mhm.
Badroulbadour? No, she was a story, right?
Yeah.
Jasmine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And who are you in the show?
I played
Lulu.
Mulan and Badroulbadour, which was Jasmine, and Pocahontas. I played the brown ones. Any brown was me.
Except for Tiana.
The princess who kissed the frog.
Yes. I did not play her.
Right.
Yes. And you got a Lortel nomination.
Yes.
I did. It was
As
a-
featured actress.
It was a super surprise. It wasn't even on my radar. So I didn't really know award season. I was really new to town. I didn't know that was I didn't know the season was a
Mhm.
thing, and I
Mhm.
didn't know that committees came. I kind of didn't even really know that off-Broadway had its own set of stuff. And I remember getting off the train and getting a text from my friend Jason Wetzel. And all it said was, "Are you effing kidding me?" And it's all it said. And I was like, I don't even know.
What did I do to this guy?
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. And I said, what happened? And he texted me the article with my name in it. And I was like, oh,
That's cool.
I need a dress. Like, I didn't know, what's happening? Yeah, that was fun. It was a lot of fun too. It was the year that Hamilton was at the Public.
Ooh.
So spoiler alert, Hamilton won everything.
Everything they swept.
Which was fine. I mean, it was great because now everyone's like, oh, did you win? And I go, no, Renee Elise Goldberry won for Hamilton. And it was beautiful. I mean, I wanted to see Hamilton so badly at that point because I hadn't seen it yet. And just, they were such a hot show. The whole cast was there. They hadn't hit Broadway yet. So only really New York knew about Hamilton. And it was like their first up and up. I think it was the first awards show of the season. So it was just like, oh, something's happening. There is momentum happening in New York City.
Mhm.
It was cool.
And Alison. So that's when the two of you met,
Oh,
right?
no.
Or did you know each other before that?
Oh, Alan.
Yes.
I
Here we
thought you
go.
met in Disenchanted.
Oh,
Oh,
just
no.
wait. Go ahead.
So after all of my, relationship drama, I stayed in Tampa and I ended up working in the regional theater a lot there. So I got my equity card doing a show called Rent again, 10 years later in the same role, Maureen. And this one was cast as my Joanne.
Come on.
Yeah. So we
Oh.
played Maureen and Joanne
We did.
at American Stage and Rent in the Park. So their park shows are amazing. I mean, it's thousands of people. It's outdoors. They do it every year. It's amazing. So we met then,
Mhm.
and it was like we were just like literally inseparable. And what was crazy was right after that, we booked like 3 shows in a row all
Together.
together. Like
Oh, yeah.
for a whole 2 years, we did everything together.
Almost every show I did happened to be with Alison.
Yeah.
Different producers,
Mhm.
different types of shows, everything.
Yeah. Like Man of La Mancha.
We did Man of Mancha. We did
a tour with David Friedman, Listen to My Heart.
we did Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror. Like it just kept happening.
Mhm.
So I don't know, this crazy friendship formed. And then we were best friends almost instantly. And then we stayed in touch when she would go travel. And then I had kind of formed my life in Florida. And when Disenchanted came to Tampa to do
we did a 17-week out of town there.
She was like, you have to audition. You have to audition for this. You would be so great. So I went in, and at the time I was like 6 weeks pregnant with my now 4-year-old. So I auditioned, I got the call back, and at the callback, I told them, I said, listen, by the end of this contract, I'm going to be real pregnant. So just letting you know that. And but a few days later, the director himself called and was like, listen, we want to cast you in this so bad, but we cannot figure out how to make this work because you're going to be pregnant. And like the Little Mermaid character is drunk. Like it just wouldn't work. They even said like they tried to, can we spin it off as like white trash and have her belly out? Like they tried all these things. It didn't work. But he basically was like, if this does go to Broadway, you have to come back, like whatever. So I was bummed, but I totally understood. I was having a baby. So the show went great. And then I had Hannah in May. And by June, she was not but a few months old. I got an email from them that said, hey, we're doing a Broadway run. Can you fly to New York and come to the callback for the producers? And I was like, yes. So I flew up to New York and I did the callback. And a few weeks later, a producer called me and was like, you're in it. And I called her immediately. And I was like, we're going to New York together. And I left my family for like a year, my 6-month-old. So we came to New York and we had a blast for those times. And that's where our podcast idea happened. Because we lived in Brooklyn together, way in Brooklyn. And by way, I mean like a couple stops from Coney Island. Like
Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Way out there.
Way out.
So, sometimes late at night, it would take you 2 hours on that train. Like, because sometimes it would skip your stop. You have to go to the end and then transfer and come back. Like, it was insane. So we were also not wealthy.
No.
So we would often share food.
We were on the lowest tier off-Broadway contract. And I encourage everyone to Google that immediately.
And then see how that's possible.
Because saying the number out loud is like an actor's walk of shame.
Yeah.
So I just need you to find that information on your own. Yeah. What it was in 2015, because it has since gone up.
I know.
Yeah.
2015, yeah. So we'd play this game where we would say, what would you do right now if you had $10,000? And that became very fun for us. This fantasy world of how we would spend our money often revolved around hotels and food.
Oh, yeah.
Massages.
Always.
Facials.
Yeah.
Semi-permanent makeup.
Not yet.
No?
That wasn't a thing yet.
I don't know about that.
Semi-permanent makeup?
No, I just don't know about that subject.
Oh.
You don't know?
If you were like, Alan, when did eyebrow tattooing start?
Oh, right.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that either. No, I know. I'm jealous. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. And then we did Disenchanted, and now we started our podcast, and
here we are.
And here we are.
So the
your
podcast.
Yes.
The podcast is called 10KDollarDay.
It is.
$10,000 a day. I have to say, like, the impetus for me pulling the trigger on this podcast, my own, was being a guest on yours.
For real?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That is really cool. Tell us more.
Episode 43.
Yes.
10KDollarDay.com. Spilled my water all over the episode.
I
You sure
know.
did. Yeah, you sure did.
Like, just in your intros right now, 2 of you found out things about each other that you didn't know.
Yeah.
That's true.
I did not know that her ex-husband used a French fry box to propose to her. I still don't think I want that information. I don't know how it makes me feel about her. But
It was a different time. I was like 22.
yeah, okay.
You know, we've all made those choices.
Have we?
I mean, come on, 22-year-olds out there, or anyone. You can comment with your bad choice
I have made
at
bad
Theater
choices.
Podcast.
Let us know your bad choices.
Let's do a
Feedback
bad
at
cast.
theaterpodcast.com.
Or really, just answer the poll. Would you have said yes? And please email that to 10KDollarDay@gmail.com because I want to make sure I see every single response to that one.
But you have to think about, you know what? This isn't important. Let's move on. It was a long time ago.
But it made you who you are.
It did.
That's the thing. I can talk about bad choices. People always ask me, not always, rarely am I ever asked this, but when someone says, do you have any regrets? I say, no, there are choices I would have done differently knowing what I know now.
Right.
But I can't say that I would be where I am now without the bad choices that I made.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm happy where I am. And obviously things are going relatively okay.
Yeah.
I have my health, and I have my kids, I have my wife, have my nice recording
you have
equipment.
fancy recording equipment.
Fancy recording equipment.
Yeah, it's really
amazing.
nice.
Yay, B&H. But yeah, I don't have regrets.
Yeah.
Do you have regrets, Lulu?
I mean, I am an anxiety-ridden individual, so I have regrets about what I just ate for dinner. Yes. But if you're asking, in the general sense of life, I know intellectually that I'm supposed to say it's all made me a better person, but I would love to be just as healthy and not have gone through some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Why did I have to be tested and trialed by fire? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like what?
I don't even know. I don't have an answer to that. I think I just have general malaise. I don't have a specific thing. I'll get back to you. I'll tell you. I just literally can't think of it.
If something pops in, feel free to interrupt me anytime. And tell me about your bad choices.
I know, but now I'm just going to think about it for the rest of the time.
There's nothing. You can just be like, oh, bad choice. Here we go.
Career, boys, girls, selling your
I
Zoom
can't
H4.
help it, baby. Selling my what?
Selling your Zoom H4.
Well, yes. No, if I could have done anything differently, is this true? If I could have done anything differently, it would have been. Yeah, I don't have it. I thought I was going to use the improv trick of just starting the sentence and hoping it would finish itself. That apparently does not happen with self-actualization. It only happens with improv. So that's your lesson for the day. I regret starting that sentence.
But it was funny that you kind of dangled in front of us.
My heart kind of stopped for a minute because I was like, we're about to have a real moment.
Oh, you know what? Oh, I got it. You know what I regret? There are gigs that I regret taking.
Yeah.
There are gigs that I regret taking. There are gigs that I regret. I don't know how to explain it, but I am very quick. I think one of the flaws in my personality is that I'm very quick to feel taken advantage of. We've talked about Alison and I have talked about this in life. So I spent a large portion of my time in my 20s, I would say, doing stuff for free for people to either start my career or because I knew that this foundation or something didn't have any money and I ended up getting a little burned out and it negatively affected me because I thought I was being generous. But after a while, that cycle turned to, oh, now I'm just the girl that will do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the girl that will show up and play your benefit for free or do that. Of course they asked, and I have no animosity towards asking for people to donate their time. I just think I did it too much in a short period of time and then ended up not having an income and having no time,
Right.
And I wish that I had learned to say no earlier to things like that.
That's a good lesson.
That is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not a regret. And actually, it probably, again, it brought you to where you are.
No, absolutely. And again, it's hard because when I say no, I feel like I'm the type of person that's like, but I do have 3 extra hours between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. So I could technically do it. So that's just who I am. And so then I feel very selfish saying no to people who ask for stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And both of you are here in New York together.
Yeah.
Which is unusual. You record over the interwebs, but you're here because, and we'll talk about this as if it already happened, because this is the magic of podcast.
I know.
Yeah.
It was great. Wasn't it the best?
Yeah, it was. Podcast time travel. Alison, you came up to New York because you were on a Sirius XM show.
Yeah.
And what did you do?
We were guests on John Fugelsang's Tell Me Everything show on SiriusXM Insight on election day. And you guys, it went so well. I mean, it was basically the best thing we've ever done.
I was so well spoken.
She was so well spoken. I said nothing stupid. I let none of my anxieties out.
Yeah, none of it made front page news.
No, we were just funny and classy and witty and so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
He was so nice.
He was so Oh, he just texted me.
Oh, weird. Oh, let's take a selfie.
Okay. Send it to John.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
It's cool.
He's so cool.
He'll
you guys.
tweet that later.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed listening to it as well. Well, I'm happy. You've released over 45 episodes.
Yeah.
And then you do one a week, yeah?
Yeah.
We do one a week.
Almost a full year. You started January 1st, right? The beginning of
Close
January?
to. I think maybe the second week of January, maybe. And I have to say, so here's the thing. We're doing the hustle, right? She's doing the hustle in Florida and I'm doing the hustle here in New York. And we wanted to create something on our own terms because a lot of being an actor is going in for other people's projects, which is great, sometimes. And we both had this feeling that we wanted to create something on our own. We batted around some ideas, like what is that? Do we want to do cabarets? We have a teaching company, a coaching company together. So, are we going to do workshops? Like we just felt that we needed to create something on our own terms that we had full creative control over. And we ended up thinking, that game we used to play on a subway, let's do a podcast. So we record the first episode. My microphone's not even plugged in. We had no idea what we were doing. And we literally finished recording and we pressed stop. And then I was like, how do we put that on the internet?
No clue. I was like, I'll Google it. I was like, how do you put a podcast on the internet? ?
Because you do. This is a callback to my episode 43 on 10KDollarDay.
Oh, yes.
You do Google things with full
sentences.
Correct sentences.
I am a keyword person. She is, and this is very much our personalities because I basically live my life scanning for nouns. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's all I do. And she is like, but did you read the rest of the sentence? And I'm like, I don't know. It just said be in Brooklyn. I don't know what time. Tell me. So she puts everything in and we figured it out.
Yeah.
We got it on the internet somehow. And, baby step, baby step, baby step, baby step. We decided to do a live show at the Triad on 72nd a month ago, 2 months ago, something like that. Ago. And out of complete serendipity, someone ended up coming to the show out of a fluke. She happened to be in the theater before a house opened. And then was like, I'll come see your show. Turns out she was a comedy booker. And so we went out to drinks that night with her. And she said, you guys are comedians. And we said, oh, no. We're friends.
Who just talk about imaginary travel.
Yeah. Well, there's no thought process. Like there's no prep. I mean, there's research, but there's no scripting. There's no. And so she goes, no, you are comedians. And I think you should apply to festivals. And I think that you should tour your live show. And I think that you should start being guests on comedy shows. And we were like, okay, cool. Thanks for the drinks. And, and before you know it, she booked us on SiriusXM. And we were kind of like, this isn't a real thing. And then we got the one sheet and I was like, we have our names at the desk.
Yeah. It was big time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When you get the PDF and the email, it's big news.
It's real. It's real.
Yeah.
And so the most amazing thing about this podcast is it gives me time with my best friend because she's here on a work trip. Ooh. So we get to kind of take vacations together, but also that it has led itself to define itself its own way. And we're kind of letting it do it. We're figuring out where the momentum is. We're figuring out what direction we're going in. And I think we're pretty good about keeping open to that.
Yeah.
And seeing what the universe is telling us about it. You know?
Yeah. And we love that, some people listen to it because of the comedy aspect of it, which again, we never really set out to be a comedy podcast, but because
you're just funny people.
Well, and because we're we're not really going to these places. And I am not a world traveler. I mean, I've only lived in the US in a couple states. I just ventured over the water to go to Hawaii. Like that's as far as I've been. Yeah.
I just realized, like, if your listeners have not listened to our podcast, they have no idea what it's about.
Well, I was getting to that.
Oh. Alison?
So I am not a world traveler, like at all. But we do this research. We each pick a place each week, and we don't know, what each other has picked. And we have to do the real research. We find the hotels, we find the, the restaurants and the excursions and the craziest, unique things to do in these places. And we try to spend $10,000 in one day. Now, I mean, I barely make $10,000 in a year. So it's like, it's out there for us. And like, I don't know how to pronounce stuff. I've never tried caviar. I mean, I have now, but there's like things that like, I don't know anything about. So that's where the comedy came in, because we'd talk about things and we wouldn't know exactly what it was, but we thought we know.
But we're 100% sure when we prep.
Yeah,
that we know what we're talking about. Like, I really think I've Googled everything I need to Google. And we spent the first 6 months thinking we were a travel podcast.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I was like, this is not useful information for anyone planning a vacation.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I mean. Like some people do. I feel like if you had 10K, like that would be a great way to spend it.
If I had 10K, I would like have someone that would plan the trip for me.
Right. But like how I bought like a donkey. Like people with $10,000 can buy donkeys. Maybe they didn't realize they could buy a donkey. And I let them know you can buy a donkey in Aruba.
Yeah, it's true.
And name it.
What's his name?
Kodak.
Mm-hmm.
He's got big teeth.
What I really love about the podcast, and I was listening to it, since you asked me to be on it, I was listening to it to prep. And both of you tell such great stories. You make up this whole story. You're like, I get up in the morning and I'm parched.
Oh, you mean like what the day is?
Yeah. Like, I put my feet on the floor and feel the rug because I'm in this wonderful hotel that's 5 stars. And I shuffle over to my clear glass shower.
Yeah.
Always a shower door.
With like
Always.
the TV built in. But what's funny is there have been people that listen to it and actually forget that it's not real. I've had people text me and be like, oh my God, how amazing was the Philippines? And I'm like, no, that wasn't real. Because they forget, because, we try to recreate it as if like, hey, if you were to go here and spend this money in one day, this is what it is.
Yeah, you use so many adjectives. You describe your experience as if it actually happened, and you just happen to name drop a bunch of brands along the way.
Yeah.
To make the experience that much rounder. And it's incredible. I really love how you do it.
I'm so glad. I've never really broken it down like that. I think it's really lucky that we've got the formula of telling each other the story,
yes,
as opposed to telling an audience the story. Because me wanting to describe it to Alison is like, no, Alison, are you listening to me? It is a glass shower door, because I hate curtains. I hate curtains because it touches you. Like, when you're taking a shower in a hotel and the draft comes in and the curtain touches you and you just immediately think of every naked person that's ever been in that shower.
No.
Well,
really?
You're welcome.
Now you will.
I will.
Yep.
No, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And those little magnets on the bottom don't help.
Oh, those are horrible.
They don't work. Because a bathtub isn't made of metal like that. It's like ceramic.
I think there's metal underneath you know what? You know what? I know.
I don't know.
I was about to say something with so much conviction, and I realized I know nothing about bathtubs.
Tell me more.
Right?
Yes. No. Now I'm picturing all the drafts that I have in my hotel room, which is also creepy.
You're welcome.
Do you remember when the curved shower rods became a thing?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody had to have them.
Yeah.
And now it's been so many years that they're all starting to sag a little bit. They're all coming out of the walls.
Look, 4 extra inches in the shower is.
It is a lot. The elbow room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps the draft from putting the crazy hotel shower curtain on you.
I'm a tall guy with broad shoulders. The shampoo, I appreciate the elbow room.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you've been doing it for a long time, almost a year.
Yeah.
And you end up, I mean, just by the nature of having conversations, you become more and more comfortable with doing it in public, or I guess to an audience. Do you find it's helped either of you in any sort of therapeutic way to talk about problems, to communicate better with each other or communicate better with others?
I will say this, and Alison may hate me, but I have seen so much interesting changes in Alison in the year we've been doing it. I did not know when we started the podcast how little she actually had traveled.
Right.
I knew she was an Air Force brat and she had toured. So I was kind of like, plus we were guest entertainers on a cruise ship that went all the way to like Jamaica.
Yeah.
So
For a day.
yeah.
For a day.
Like a 3-day cruise.
No,
it was like 7.
First of all, it was a 7-day cruise and we performed on the first day.
For 45 minutes.
And that's all we had to do.
That was it?
Yeah.
Yes.
We got the whole cruise for free.
That's so nice.
But we couldn't afford to do anything else on the cruise. So we would remember we would go to like the spa, but we couldn't afford to get any of the treatments. So we would just like sit there.
We would come and we would do like facials in my cabin.
Yeah.
So she would come to my cabin and we would do masks and paint our nails and pretend that we had gone to the spa.
And then just like sit on the chairs in the spa later. That was fun.
That's so
I
cute.
know. It's weird. It's weird because that's actually a kind of a luxury thing. Like we were on this luxury cruise ship and we were doing it. But yeah, so I think directly because of the podcast, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me. You booked the trip to Hawaii because we've been dreaming of traveling and we've been talking about all these places. And I think that for the first time, Alison was like, I can actually go to these places that seemed relatively out of my existence before.
Mm-hmm.
And then she made a plan and she went. And I was so excited when she told me on the podcast that she had booked it.
I had to hold it in.
Yeah. She was like, hey, I have a happy, because we end every podcast with something small that makes you happy. Well, this was big, but something small. She goes, well, I have my happy. She goes, I got my tax return and I booked a flight to Hawaii. And I could not believe it. I was so excited about it.
Yeah.
So I think that like your possibilities are getting wider.
Yeah. And it definitely, the podcast sparked like a passion in me that I didn't know I had, which was not even just the travel aspect, but realizing that the world is so much bigger than me. And like seeing all of these different places around the world and the different cultures and the different experiences. And like, I want to do it all. Like every episode, like I would love at some point to hit the freaking lottery and go back to episode 1 and do each day. Like that would be a dream, just because it's so amazing how big this world is. And like I'm such a small little part of it. So I definitely booked the Hawaii trip because of that. I would have never done it. I would have spent it on, like, it kind of made me realize like, you have one life. I've never traveled outside of the US. I'm in Canada. That's it. And I was like, I could either spend this tax return to pay all of my bills ahead of time or go on a once in a lifetime trip to Hawaii. Like, just do it. So I did. And it was amazing. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, plus you've been a mom.
Right.
Since you were a kid.
Yeah.
So suddenly we're in this process of it takes about 4 to 5 hours to prep one 10K day, right? And so you're in the process of putting a significant amount of time every week, which makes it a habit of just thinking of what you would do by yourself if you had some money to spend. And that's
about traveling without my kids.
See?
Well, it's a really,
that's what this is. It's just you. Like every once in a while we'll pretend like we bring someone along, but it's just
really
you.
liberating.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. But that's exactly what I'm saying. It's just kind of like if I were alone on this trip and I didn't have to compromise anything that I wanted to do, regardless of how much you love the person you're compromising with, right? What would I do?
Yeah.
Well, I want to go to museums. No one ever wants to go to museums with me. Great. You know what? I'm going to the museum. And there's something liberating and lovely and freeing about that. And I'm a single woman in New York. Like, if I want to go to a museum, I can. Alison doesn't always have that luxury because she's been spending so much of her time thinking about other people. So I'm super happy that my bestie thinks about herself and only herself for 5 hours a week. I'm 100% on board with that.
That's so nice.
Allison's tearing up.
I know, right?
Oh.
The only downside of that, though, is the fact that because we spend 5+ hours a week or more if we're prepping more days on spending an exorbitant amount of money, I do start to have a warped sense of money to where I will see something and be like, oh, that's only $100.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's nothing. Or, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I start to view money differently because I'm trying so hard to spend it in an imaginary world. I'm trying to spend $1,000 plus on a dinner. So then when I get my bill at dinner and it's like $50, I'm like, oh, cheap, like so cheap, you know?
Well, that's New York. $50 is cheap.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
So it is in that way, the
Mhm.
habit becomes a little bit of like, oh, wait, keep yourself a check. You don't have 10K, you know?
Yeah.
We took a trip this year to Nashville together. It was the first time that we've gone on vacation together, and it's the first time that she's gone on vacation without her children or her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a big step for
Yeah.
us too. Like
Yeah.
we got to go to a city we didn't really know and,
Yeah.
and explore and plan days, and it's great.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, not everybody, but even I go, why don't I go on vacation? You know, why don't I do it? Why did I buy $150 of sheet masks
yeah, to sit in your apartment.
to sit in my apartment and make my face look better when I could maybe take a long weekend with a friend and make my smile look better? Do you know what I mean? Like, just get your priorities straight.
That was poetic.
Yep.
It wasn't that poetic.
I mean, it was.
I almost pulled out of it halfway through that sentence.
But you committed.
I think you verbalize visually. Do you know what I mean?
I verbalize visually. I think that just was an example of that.
She had to think of that.
No, I don't know what you mean.
When I am trying to think of when I'm in my head, and I
Yes.
shouldn't be in my head, but when I'm in my head, I picture my sentences, and they, like what you did earlier.
You
when
picture actual words?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's when I'm trying to figure out what somebody has said. If I didn't hear them all the way, I'm like, I'm going, like the words are spinning in my head like a Rolodex of like, it could be this word, this word, this word, this word.
Oh, no, that's
And then-
not. No. You know what mine, remember when I said I'm a noun person?
Mhm.
Like I'm very much like, what's the main noun? What's the main verb? What's the subject of the sentence? I don't care about the predicate. So when people like say a sentence that I just need to parse out a little bit, I can see the words like what you're talking about, but it's literally like the noun becomes bold and then the verb becomes bold.
Yeah.
So if you gave me this big complex sentence about this boy Johnny who jumped over a stile and then he had a bucket of water and the water was cold in the thing, and I'd be like, okay, I don't care about the bucket. Johnny jumped stile. Got it.
Huh.
I don't need the details.
I could picture that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I get that.
Whoa.
How does your-
Two people's minds are blown, and everyone else in this podcast is like, "What is she talking?" I know.
There's one person in like Alaska who's like, yes.
Who's just like diagramming sentences in the glaciers, just so
No.
happy he's found his soulmate.
How does your mind work,
Oh,
Alison?
I just had to remind myself what a noun was. I'm like, noun, person, place, thing, adjective, descriptive. Like I have to remind myself. I mean, keep in mind, I do not have an MBA, right?
Yeah, grammar's big in the MBA program.
Yeah, you don't know how to,
Yeah.
you don't know how to speak good till you get your MBA.
You can't speak well till you get that MBA.
That's
You
right.
don't know what
No.
to do in those meetings.
Is that an Arkansas joke?
I don't know. What?
No, I don't know how my brain works. I'm just a free spirit. I just say whatever. I don't think a lot before I speak, I think, right?
That is true.
Yeah, I just kind of say it.
She's the most chill, go with the flow, whatever person. Like, and I am not. Like I have to have my bedroom a certain way. I have to make my bed before I sleep in it. I have to like have this and I
Wait.
have that. Yes, I don't do it in the morning. I know. Whatever. But I can't sleep unless it's made. So I have to make it like right before I sleep.
And I'm sleeping on a
What?
couch with no
I know.
pillowcase. Like, I don't care.
She's like, do you have a bathtub? Like she
I'll
doesn't
sleep
care.
anywhere.
As long as it's metal.
A syringe.
Glass door.
No,
Glass
yeah,
door metal, yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty easygoing. Like,
You're very easygoing.
So I just kind of, I'm definitely not the smartest person in the bunch as far as like book smart. I have a lot of like common sense in life because I've been through a lot.
You're super street smart.
Very street
You can
smart.
break into any door.
I can. I'm always ready for like everything.
For any apocalypse,
Any
of any
apocalypse,
type.
any bad scenario, any good scenario. Like I'm constantly ready. Nothing overwhelms me in that aspect. Like I'm always ready for something to happen. I feel very prepared all the time to take action in any situation.
She's always like, what's your escape plan? And I'm like, you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Street smart.
I get that.
That's me.
I get that. Yeah. I'm like, I got little bits
A little
of
bit
both
both.
of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So gosh, we've been chatting almost an hour here.
Oh no.
Really?
Yeah. So I actually want to end, I have my own closing standards.
Oh.
But before we get to those, I want to actually do a happy.
I was hoping you were going to do a can I talk about the happies real fast?
Yeah.
Okay, so peeps, here's the deal. We do this thing at the end of our podcast where we talk about what makes us happy that day. And it used to be that week, right? Like it used to be like, what's your happy this week?
Yeah.
And as kind of a practice, like a mindfulness practice, we decided we're going to start putting this on our Instagram story, our 10KDollarDay Instagram story as a, now find one every day.
Yeah. Like a hashtag, what's your happy?
Whatever. And we have people sending us like, what's your happies? And we repost them and it's great because everyone has like something little, like I saw a golden retriever and it wanted to talk to me. Happy. Like I don't need you to have won an Oscar.
There's a young girl in high school who sends us like her band videos. Like she's playing different instruments.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
And when she like gets a run correct, she takes a video and sends it to us.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah.
I know. It
It's
makes
really
me
cool.
so happy.
So what's your happy?
Yeah.
My happy today was the moment on the train coming back with my 2.5-year-old.
The face grabby.
Because he was just giggling. He gets in these modes where he just giggles and giggles. And I could tell like the hardened, like, shell of a New Yorker that doesn't want to be on a crowded train. All the people in my immediate vicinity, I was watching them out of the corner of my eye too. And all of them were watching him and like smiling when he would giggle and whatnot. So it was like, I was enjoying the moment of bringing a little bit of joy to their lives and while enjoying it myself. And, just one of them New York moments.
I love
amazing.
that.
Yeah. What are your happies though?
Well, my happy actually happened last night. We went and saw a show, Christina Bianco's CD release party. And I had the best experience because she brought a fan up on stage to sing a duet with her.
I was picturing like a plug-in fan.
No. Like
for
a
wind
person,
effect.
like a person from California. This girl is like a huge fan. She like joined her GoFundMe and signed up to like sing a duet with her. This girl is not a performer. She's just a fan. And she got her 2 minutes of fame.
Wow.
And it was the most moving thing. This girl's life experience was made. Like she's going to post about this. I felt so happy for her. I was like tearing up. And they sang "A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart."
A dream is what your heart makes with medleyed into "Dream a Little Dream of Me."
And it was her dream.
No, wait. I need to
Like,
tell you exactly how this played out.
Magical.
This
I can't
concert's
stop thinking
going
about
on.
it.
It's beautiful. It's lovely. And I'm sitting next to a friend of mine and she turns to me and she goes, "I'm so nervous." Because we both were, this friend and I are very similar. And so we were nervous that it wasn't going to go well. So we're nervous about it. And she goes, "I'm just so nervous about this. This would be my nightmare." And at that very minute, Alison turns to us and goes, "Her dream is coming true." And just so happy. And it made me so happy to watch her because you were just living your life like through her.
Because I could feel like it was 2 minutes of Christina's life. And she gave those 2 minutes to this woman who flew from California to sing on the Birdland stage. Like, I've never sang on the Birdland stage. She got her moment. Like, that made her night, regardless if she couldn't hit the note. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was beautiful.
She actually sounded really good.
She did.
Though.
She actually sounded great. They harmonized.
Yeah, she held
Like,
the
they
melody the
worked-
whole time, and Christina was a third above her. It was great.
It was beautiful. It made me so happy. And I immediately was like, how can we do this? How can we I want to do it.
We did. We had Alan Seals on episode 43.
We should do a trio.
That was my dream.
See?
Well,
You made my
actually,
dream.
hold on. Your 10K day, you actually are making come true.
That is true.
Because you prepped a 10K day for us.
Yes.
You did it. Or you prepped the whole day and then booked passage on the Queen Elizabeth? What am I talking about? On the Titanic? What's happening? And then you booked tickets to go there and actually take that vacation. So I rest my case.
That's huge.
So for those listening, I spent 7 of the 10,000 on like a MacBook Pro and a drone and things I won't actually take.
Oh, right. Alan's not actually taking a $10,000
no.
day vacation.
It's actually very inexpensive.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
In fact, you had to add the MacBook Pro to get to
the money.
10,000.
Yes. So for context, it is swimming with the whales in Tonga.
Yes.
It was my 10K day.
Oh, I can't wait for those pictures.
Episode 43 of 10KDollarDay
Yeah.
podcast. So then my closing standards. Alison, we'll start
I
with
didn't
you.
get to do a happy.
Oh yeah, Lulu, you're happy. I'm sorry.
I'm very happy to be included.
And scene.
Mine is a real New York theater happy.
Yeah.
What?
So I feel like I'm on brand for you right now.
Okay.
Today, ignore everything I said about feeling taken advantage of benefits, because today I did work a benefit. Today I music directed a benefit that was honoring Bjork Lee, who I have always known as this force of nature who was in the original cast of Chorus Line and teaches it all over the country and all this kind of stuff. I had no idea of her extensive pedigree. She was 5 years old, I think, and when she was first on Broadway. She was in the original cast of The King and I.
Oh.
Isn't that cool? And she told these really great stories about how on opening night of a Chorus Line, Michael Bennett came to her in the green room and said, "I'm giving you this show. You will now go and teach this around the world. I'm giving it to you. Have fun." Just really beautiful things. And I was watching her, and I'm Filipino American, and which is not actually something that I think about all the time, even in auditions or even in looking for roles. It's just not my first identifier that I think of. And so to see this woman who kind of trailblazed her way as an Asian American actor and who started a theater just for Asian American acting and who has had a career since whatever year she started, probably the 50s, maybe, King and I would say, constantly being booked, constantly being a director, constantly choreographing, constantly working and being really revered in her field. It was a really great perspective, because I forget that it wasn't always that we could audition for everything. Because we're kind of in this different world right now where I can walk into an audition and say, "Have you thought about a woman?" And they go, "Oh, we haven't thought about a woman." I go, "Great, cool. So let me do this. Have you thought about a brown person?" And they go, "Oh, we didn't think about that. Great, cool. Let me audition for that." That is new. That didn't, even when I first moved to New York, that was not a thing. So being in a room with someone who fought that fight was really, it had a really big effect on me this afternoon.
That's
Cool.
very good, happy.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a really great moment for me, to sit there, listen to the history. And she's so loved. She's a loving woman, and she's gracious and she's kind. So just to kind of watch her just be so honored by all of these people, and a bunch of people just got up spontaneously to speak who weren't even supposed to speak. And they were like, "She's great. I love her." It was a really lovely day. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So then my closing standard questions then, very simply, Alison, we'll start with you then. What motivates you?
Oh, you have a moment to think, huh?
I do.
What motivates me? I think for me, it's passion. As far as if I'm passionate about something, I'm going to do it. Regardless of what that means. I'm a super go-getter. If I don't feel strongly about something, then I know that's not my path and I immediately change it. So I am passion driven, and in very different ways. I'm passionate about, my kids, and I'm passionate about my family and my friends and these, projects that we have, my coaching business, teaching children, inspiring. So I think for me, it's a heart thing. Does that make sense? If I feel strongly about something, that's the direction I'm going to go. And the second that doesn't feel right, it is not a problem for me to change that direction immediately. Yeah.
What is that? You fall in love easily, and it's hard to fall out of love, or the reverse.
I don't know. I've been married 3 times, so.
I mean, she says she will change direction, but we all heard the Freibach story, right?
No, I know, but that was I was on the direction, and then the second that I was like, oh no, not this direction, then I went the other direction, and then I did that direction, and then I was like, oh, that's really not the direction. And so then I went the next direction, and I'm like, all right, cool, this is a good direction.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
What are we talking about?
Lulu, what motivates you?
Yeah, right. I like stories, and I think that's why I was a political science major. I like figuring out why people think things. I like figuring out the path to get them. So this is kind of is everything. It's being an actor, political science, my master's in leadership. It's all kind of the same thing. It's like how to get people to what motivates people, what makes them happy or sad, what their triggers are, why their relationships are like this. And if you replace that with countries, that's political science. So I really love to pick stories apart like that. It's my favorite thing. I mean, I love text, and I love words, and I love the specificity of words, and I love the difference between a sheaf of grass and a blade of grass. Do you know what I mean? Like I just like really, really love to get specific about. No, yes, no. Yes, thanks. I got one nod around the table, and I will take it. Yeah, so I really like stories. I like telling stories. I like the process as an actor of figuring out the story for myself, figuring out that point of view, and then trying to make sure that an audience, it's very clear to an audience what that point of view is, unless I'm trying to obscure it.
Right.
But the process of honing down exactly what that point of view is, and the process of honing down what actions and inflections like portray that is fascinating to me and will always be fascinating.
That's really interesting. You're a very multidimensional individual.
I have so many dimensions. I'm basically Doctor Who in a person.
Doctor Who is a person? Or
Ooh.
Wait.
Well,
hold on.
No,
Hold
first
on.
you can't say that because Doctor Who is not from Earth. A.
Right.
And then B.
Gallifrey has people.
Gallifrey has Gallifreyans.
But people is a generic term for humans?
I think so. That's a definition situation. This is a semantics problem.
Yeah. I beings. Okay.
Can I ask an off-topic question?
Yeah.
No explanation. Favorite doctor? No explanation.
I haven't seen this season yet.
Neither have I.
David Tennant.
Okay.
Are we still friends?
Yeah, Matt Smith.
I like Matt Smith. But yeah, I like Matt Smith.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to throw you a real wild card. Alison does not watch Doctor Who. This is not interesting.
I have a favorite doctor.
You do?
Yeah.
Who? Wait.
Dr. McDreamy.
Okay. Fair. That's a person.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
Not a Gallifreyan.
Nope.
All right, back on topic.
Why?
So Lulu,
what were you expecting? I mean, you've listened to our podcast.
I know we'll be like 30 minutes into an episode. And I'm like, are they going to do a 10K day yet?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I love it though. But I'm still listening because it's still interesting. Lulu, we'll start with you. What advice would you give to your younger self and the younger people listening now, starting out down a similar path?
Okay, can you give me a general age?
No.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Wait,
I just told you
our path.
Well, as somebody who wanted to.
They want to do what I do?
Yes.
Do you know how hard this is, people? No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, it is.
The implication of the question is musical theater or
musical theater
in general.
Musical theater.
Yes.
Theater.
Name of the podcast.
Yes.
Why am I? so nervous.
Sweating.
Think of the nouns. Think of the nouns and the adjectives.
I'm literally trying to remember that. What advice do I have? Is that what you
What
said?
advice would you give to your younger self or others
Me.
following in your path?
See?
Yes, but what advice would you give to your younger self?
To me.
Yes.
But I have advice for people who aren't me.
If you were in Doctor Who and you could go back and talk to yourself and give yourself different advice.
Ay. Okay. If I could go back to myself, well, kind of off the regrets thing, I would say reserve a little more time for yourself and take care of yourself and give yourself self-care and make sure you're not burned out. And if you are feeling burned out, just tell someone and say, this is more work than I thought it was going to be. Can we come to a compromise? Can we do something? Because I spent so much time trying to please everyone and be a cool team player, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a good trait of my personality, but also, like, I'm so Hufflepuff. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always like, oh, I'll be at the back of the tour group because I don't want to be aggressive, and now I can't hear the person. Like, it's always just so many things. Yeah, so I think that's probably the biggest thing. Start taking care of yourself way earlier than you thought you would need to. And I would also say, moisturize your hands.
That's a real thing.
Look, never give up an opportunity to moisturize your hands, people.
I have naturally oily skin.
I do too.
We've all seen those people who look real tight, neck up.
Real tight.
I'm just saying, moisturize your hands.
Yeah.
Thank you,
You're
Alison.
welcome.
That's a good one. My advice, I think, for the theater kids who want to do this,
Or younger you.
or younger me, well, yeah, especially younger me, would be to realize kind of who you are as a performer and be okay with that. I found myself very early on trying to be like the other people that I thought were making it, like the big, I was like, oh, I need to be able to belt this high and I need to be able to fit into this box that I thought everybody else that were getting booked was in, which is why I think I got nodes. Do you know what I mean? I was like pushing myself to this limit that's not who I am. And it became very clear to me that I had very different skill sets, but they were also valuable. So I think kind of finding where you fit and then honing those talents, making them the best you can be, and then being okay with that. And then going out for those roles and realizing that it might not be the role that you envisioned for yourself, but being very truthful with who you are and with the skills that you've been given. I think that would be what, I would tell myself early on.
I would also tell myself back in my 20s that this is going to sound, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this really perfectly. But as someone who in my 20s always booked character roles, it's really hard sometimes when all of your show life is the secondary character, because you start to feel like less than a primary character in your own life. So I think it also kind of goes with the self-care, but certainly exactly what Alison is talking about, storytelling types, which are changing, but classic storytelling types in no way define the storytelling of your own life.
Right.
And I think that's a really important thing. And now that I'm in my 30s and watching my friends and me as we change types is a really delicate, difficult situation sometimes, because we're not only dealing with the general aging things that most people deal with, but also how storytelling works that way. And suddenly you're not the person falling in love anymore, but you're the best friend of the person falling in love. And then you're the mom of the person falling in love. Does that make sense? And it can kind of mess with your head a little bit if you let that get to you. So having a little more global perspective on that and not putting so much importance on that would have been really helpful in my 20s.
And then realizing too that the people that you're auditioning for are literally 1, 2, 3 people in the world of opinions.
Yeah.
So to not take that to heart, because if you bring 3 other people in, those opinions change. So just to be, confident in who you are and the skill set that you have, and walk in, do your best, and walk out and have a great day.
If you could only see one show for the rest of your life, but you can see it as many times as you want, what show would you see?
Oh my. Oh
no.
Oh. See, here's the thing about me too, though. As like not worldly as I am, I'm also like, I live in Florida. I never saw a Broadway show until I moved to New York at 19 and I saw Beauty and the Beast for the first time. So like, I also haven't seen a lot. It makes me very sad. I do most of my watching on YouTube, right? So I feel like I can't, like, I know some of my favorite music out there, but as far as a show, I mean, I think Beautiful is one of the most beautiful shows I've ever seen. I think I could watch that a gazillion times.
I love that show.
I love that show. It has everything. Do you know what I mean? It has everything. So I think that might be one for me.
Except people that look like me, so I can't audition for that show.
But time is changing, Lou.
That's right.
You could walk
Not
in.
enough to play a historic show with real characters in the 60s. I do love plot, so
No, I know.
I don't think I can be in that show. I don't think I have one. Because as soon as you said that, I only let myself think of things with improv bits in it because I knew I'd get bored.
Well, that's fine.
You know, and I was like, well, what show would that be that had improv bits in it? Because I need something to change from day to day if I'm going to watch it. I say that, but I watch movies a lot over and over and over. So I don't have one.
You have to.
What?
You have to have one.
Yeah,
Has anyone said I don't
No.
have one?
This is a
No.
new podcast. Maybe I'm breaking the mold. Maybe I'm opening it up for not. I mean, I had a reason why I didn't have one. I wasn't just like, don't have one. I was like, oh, because
Then we'll go with Oh Hello.
I didn't see it. I didn't even see the one on Netflix yet, but I love John Mulaney, so I will.
Yeah,
Please
Nick
stop
Kroll
looking
and
at me like that. Okay.
Nick Kroll and John Mulaney, they improv a lot in that thing. So
I'll
There
say
you
this.
go.
Here's a show that I haven't seen yet, but it fits my criteria.
yeah.
Also don't know the name, but I can describe it. It's in Chicago. Everyone, if you know the name of this or the name of the two brilliant comedians, please email me at 10KDollarDay@gmail.com. It's two improvisational actors. I don't remember their names, but I think that their names are the name of the show. And they're in Chicago. And they start every show by sitting across from each other at a table. And then the show starts. And it's different every single night.
Oh, that's cool.
It's 100% improvised. Hold on.
Wait, Ashley, what is it?
Ashley in the booth.
Yeah.
TJ and Dave.
TJ and Dave. That's it. TJ and Dave.
All right.
It says brilliant and heartbreaking.
Well, maybe one day it might be funny though, and one day it might be heartbreaking.
Okay.
That is, come on. Look, you start an entire run of a show
She's
with
so defensive.
zero.
I know.
No. This is excitement. It sounds a little aggressive, but this is excitement. I mean,
You've never seen it though.
Yeah, okay. But look, I know their reputation. I know they're very good. And I know, Alison, imagine this, because we're both improv people, right?
Yeah.
So no planning at all, but you know that you're going to start by sitting across from each other at the table.
So it's 10K dollar day.
And then an hour and a half later, you have a show. That is everything I love in theater.
Who starts?
Exactly. They don't have a plan. There's literally no plan
So they just stare at each other
until someone gives an offer.
Huh.
One of them. You want to try it?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
I'm witnessing the birth of a brand new show.
Fry box, huh?
Things happen.
That's it. I thought that was pretty good.
We're gonna try this tonight.
Just by yourselves in my apartment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, let's wrap this episode.
Okay.
Are you
And then-
sure
and
you don't
then
want
we'll-
us to just do more existentialist? How many syllables did I put in that
I
word?
don't know.
Existentialist?
Existentialist.
We'll use it as
choreographer.
extra content.
Okay,
a little later.
great.
Yes.
He's like, I've never cut before, but now I'm going to be trimming this out.
Oh, can we tell people about our Patreon page?
Well, yeah, that's the end now is plugging your show and plugging
You do
Patreon.
it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 10K Dollar Day, we've talked about it a lot. We also are super excited. We just partnered with Patreon, where Patreon is a website where creators can go and kind of reach out to people like you to become members and sponsors of what they're creating. So for us, it's this podcast. And we're looking for people to join our hashtag Team 10K. And by giving as little as $2 a month, you can get really cool things. We can send you postcards. We can have you actually mention where we're going to go on the podcast. You can get a obsession gift box from us.
What's an obsession?
Well,
For those who don't know.
every week we do
Scatting.
Yeah, that's
Lulu,
scatting.
you need to scat.
Oh, do it.
Bow. That sounded like, you know what that was?
It's like a
that
jingle.
No. You know those Yamaha keyboards that have the scat patch on it, and then like
Yes.
you know what I'm talking about? And when you press it, it's like do 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 dow do dow dow dee dow. That's what that is. It's like so bad. Do you know what I'm talking
Lulu
about?
can actually scat.
No, I can.
I know.
I
She
do.
can give a lesson.
I can even teach scatting. It's one of the things that I do.
Yeah.
It's easy. I mean, it's not easy, but it can be easy. I'm not going to just scat like randomly.
But
That's
if you
so
become
weird.
a Patreon, one of the extra
Patron.
content join Patreon and become a patron. One of the extra content things is Lulu sends you a scatting
She's looking at me.
Voice
because-
mail
because
to
this
me
is the first time
for
she's
your
heard it.
phone.
Here's my
I
hint for
want a
anybody.
Lulu scat ringtone.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to is like, oh,
That's
I can't
brilliant.
scat. If you're a singer and you can't scat, just think of yourself as one of the instruments in the band. Listen to old music and listen to the instrumental solos and then sing along with them, learn them, sing along with them. Don't stress out about your syllables. Have fun. There's no wrong answers in scatting.
You should try
there
it.
are some really wrong answers, but there's like no
Just try
wrong
it.
answers. Yeah, do it.
Ba-da-ba-bow.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Ba-da-da-ba-da-da-bow.
Battle,
Ooh.
bow.
How's
Good.
that? You like that?
Little
Okay.
bow.
Yeah.
Battle,
Yeah, we'll have to
bow.
decide.
Telling you. So yes, we have a Patreon page.
It's
It's www.patreon.com/10KDollarDay. We would love if you join our team so we can keep creating amazing content. And also, we want to do more live shows. And that is kind of where we're asking for help from our audience to help us do that. We want to travel the country. We want to do live shows. We want to meet our fans face to face.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, I was supposed to add more.
Yes.
I didn't. Okay.
Yes,
Let's.
you dropped the offer.
I
Yeah, she
sure
just did a yeah.
did.
I mean, I
sure
feel like
did.
I covered
stopped-
it.
I do feel like you covered
Like,
it. Actually, I thought you did a
I
really good
appreciate
job.
you
You know what?
for just being like, yes.
I thought you did a great job.
Alan thought.
Alan
yeah.
thought it was lacking, but I had 100% faith in you.
I appreciate you.
You're
And
welcome.
how do they connect with you on socials?
Look, you guys, we're on everything.
Yes.
We're on Twitter at 10KDollarDay. We're on Facebook, 10KDollarDay. Join our Bay page, BAE, because we are hip.
Yep.
And then we're on Instagram, and we would love for you guys to like join our What's Your Happy campaign on our Insta story. So add us on Instagram, 10KDollarDay. Check out the Insta story and then add us and tag us in it so we can see it. And then we'll repost it. And then all these people will be happy. And you would be surprised what it will do for your day of making yourself find something that makes you happy. Even if it is absolutely so small. All the lights were green on the way to work. That was my happy. You know what? I went to McDonald's and they gave me extra fries by accident. Great.
Yeah.
That's
be
your
the
happy.
smallest thing.
You know, something super small because guess what? They happen all the time and you just aren't looking for them. And I promise everyone could actually probably find 5 to 10 in their day. You're just not looking for them.
To make you
Yeah.
a better, happier person.
Oh, we also have a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube channel, 10KDollarDay. And we release a live episode every month where you get to see us actually do the podcast in front of your eyes together.
One take, too.
One take. That's scary. It's scary. But
One
it's
take.
awesome.
An
It's-
hour.
Yeah.
It's like that improv show.
See? We already did it.
You can find more of me at theater_podcast on Instagram and Twitter, or on facebook.com/officialtheaterpodcast. Of course, listen and subscribe via the theaterpodcast.com. Everywhere you get your podcast, please give an honest review. I read them. And of course, big thank you to Jukebox the Ghost for the music you are hearing playing underneath us right now. Alison, Lulu, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
This has been a pleasure.
We had so much fun. And I love this new podcast of yours, and I cannot wait to listen to every single episode.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for supporting us on Sirius. We could feel your energy as we were on it. So it was great. What if something crazy
keeps going? Like the podcast
you can cut it out.
has ended.
What if something happened? Like, what if they cancel it and like we didn't know? Like, what if there was no power at Sirius that day and they were like, "Hey, we're going to have to cancel," and then we have this podcast and we're like, "It was great."
It's funny. It's funny.
We'll just dub over it. It'll be my voice. It'll be, "It was bad."
I mean, it was canceled.
Yeah. We were in the nothing. Yeah.
Are we done?
Did you have something to plug? No.
Wait, are we done? I took my headphones off, but I don't think I was
I
supposed
was
to.
going to ask you to scat. I actually want to hear some real scatting.
It's hard to do without context without chord changes underneath you. It just kind of sounds. Do you just want me to do?
I'll change the chord.
To what?
To whatever I want.
That doesn't help me.
Oh.
A.
Oh my gosh.
Wait. How about
I can just do
Let's
I Got
Fall in
Rhythm.
Love?
If you say goodbye to me tonight. In the still of the night.
I don't know what your context is for these notes that you're giving me.
In the still.
I think you guys are in two different keys.
Bum, bum, bum.
We're harmonizing.
This is even better than
Was
me
that
scatting. I don't know what's happening. Okay, I'm just going to do it till I got rhythm, I think. Do you know I Got Rhythm? Can you just sing it?
I got rhythm. Pull up the lyrics.
You don't need lyrics. You can just do it on a doop doop.
Do.
I'm going to come in on the second chorus. You just keep going, okay?
Change. Do.
And we're out.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.